let's just start with the workshop. Welcome to the third workshop for the course SQL NoSQL. For this workshop, we'll be discussing more upon MongoDB. So for the specific session, I'll be walking you through to a notebook, a Jupyter notebook that I have created so that we could get more acquainted with the CRUD operations that we can apply on any cluster or and as well as the cluster that we have created on our own. So before moving on, let's just have a quick walkthrough to all the requirements which we have before this workshop. So the requirements are as below. It's to create a sandbox cluster using MongoDB Atlas. Second is that you're supposed to create a database under this cluster by the name video. This is the database that we'll be using for this demo. Third is that you should create a My Movies collection under this database. And then there are certain dummy values that you must insert in your collection before moving on with this workshop. So basically, these are documents which gives you the details of the movies that we have in My Movies collection. So let's just go on with it then. Let's just walk through some concepts that we'll be using before going through the Jupyter notebook so that we have a clarity on what we're working upon. So in order to connect to a MongoDB cluster, what we'll be using in this session is a driver called PyMongo. So it is vital that you first install PyMongo in your systems. So if you're using Jupyter, just fire the Anaconda prompt and give these two commands, which is pip install PyMongo and pip3 install PyMongo SRB. Once you do this, you'll be able to import PyMongo in your Jupyter notebooks so that we can use it for further operations. So the important thing here is that since you have created a cluster on Atlas, you obviously need to get connected to it. So in order to establish a connection with it, we'll be using Mongo client function, which is something available within PyMongo. So here, inside these parentheses, we will give the connection string to the specific cluster that we want to get connected to. So let's just walk through the steps of knowing what your connections are if you have created a cluster. So since you have created a cluster on Atlas, MongoDB Atlas, you will just go to your console, sign in, and go to the cluster which you want to connect to. In my case, that is cluster 0. So I'll connect and I'll select the option called connect using MongoDB Compass. Once I go here, I'll be able to see this string, which is basically the connection string that I'll put under the parenthesis of MongoDB client. But one thing vital over here is that the password is not given. So this is the password that you will be adding in your Atlas cluster as a username and password. So this is the username, which is Priyanshuji in my case, and a password is something that you know because you are the owner of the cluster. So once you put these details inside this string, you'll be able to use it for your demo. So moving on, once you put these strings in that connection string of Mongo client in here, you'll be able to connect to the MongoDB cluster. The next thing that you want to do is that you want to get connected to the database as well as the collections that you have inside that specific cluster. So in my case, if I want to connect to video, what I can do is that I'll use that same variable that I had declared in here, which is a client equal to Mongo client and the connection string. So I'm using client in here and I will give the specific database name to which I want to get connected to. Similarly, this is also another way of getting connected to a database. So once you get connected to the database, the next point is that you can have multiple collections inside the specific database, like we discussed earlier. So you would like to connect to a specific collection in our case, which is In our case, it's my movies. So in order to do that, I'll use this variable db, which was used for getting connected to my database. And then I'll use the name of the collection that I want to get connected to in the same way that I got connected to the database. Similarly, there are two ways of getting connected to it. So after this point, you will be able to access the specific collection that you want to analyze. So reiterating the documents in MongoDB. So basically, the structure of MongoDB is like a specific cluster can have multiple databases. A specific database can have multiple collection, and a specific collection can have multiple documents. So these documents are nothing but represented as JSON, wherein every document is basically a key value pair. Every field inside the document is a key value pair. So if I want to analyze these documents inside a specific collection, I have a lot of functions that I can use in order to do that. So the first function that we'll be reviewing is find. So if in a collection you want to find a specific document pertaining to a specific filter, you can use this specific function called find. It has two parameters. First is query and second is projection. So query is nothing but a filter that you will give this function. So for example, if you have movies data collection and you want specific movies pertaining to the year 2013, then you can just give this filter that year should be equal to 2013, and all those documents which pertain to that specific year will arrive by using this method called find. Projection is something which is very much similar to what we have in databases called like select. So basically, whatever fields that you want to use in your document, you will be able to display them with the help of projection. So let's go through a basic query. So if I have a collection that I have connected to and I want to see all the documents that I have in that specific collection, then I'll use the function db.mymovies, which is basically the connection to my collection, and dot find function without any filter, because I want to see every document which is there inside this collection. And then another thing that I'm using in here is the sort function, because I want to sort the years of the movies which I have inside these documents in descending order. So here you can see that all these movies are being displayed in descending order of the year. So basically, this is a function that you can use to analyze your data inside a specific collection. Another function that you can use is count. So let's say that you have a scenario wherein you want to know that in your collection, how many movies are there pertaining to the year 2013. So in that case, what you're going to do is that you will connect to the collection that you want to analyze and say find by giving a specific filter of the year, because we want to see the count of movies which have year 2013. I'm giving that filter in here. And then I say dot count. So this command is going to print all the count of documents which I have inside this collection, which has year 2013. Moving on, just having a review about the projection. Projection. It's basically as I mentioned before, it's like a select statement. So if I have this example wherein I'm connecting to this collection called products, and I want all the quantities which are greater than 25, and I only want to display item and quantity. So this part here is the projection. But what happens is that by default, the field called underscore ID will be there when you print this specific document. So if you want to exclude it explicitly, you can give this statement, that is ID underscore ID equal to 0, so that it does not get included when you get a specific result. So that is something that you can do explicitly. So let's just go through the document, the notebook, and see how everything is happening. So this is the notebook that we have shared with you, and you can go ahead and use it for your own analysis. So let's just start. Like I said before, you'll have to install PyMongo by going to the Anaconda prompt so that you will be able to use it in your Jupyter notebooks. You can use it by importing PyMongo. Now, in order to connect to a specific cluster, like I said before, I have a specific connection string that I'm using for my own cluster, which I have added in here. You can put your own URL in here to get connected to the cluster that you want to get connected to. So the next step for us will be exploring the collections and the documents that we have. So in order to, like I said before, in order to get connected to a specific database, you can just say, use the variable that you used in here called client and say dot video, which is the database that you want to connect to. A new thing over here is server status. So basically, whenever you put this command called server status, you will be provided with a document that provides you an overview of the database process state. So once you get this whole document, it means that you have connected to the database now. Once you have connected to the database, one thing that you'd like to know is that what are all the collections that you have in the specific database. So in this case, you can use this function called collection name, wherein you'll be able to fetch all the names of the collections which are there inside the specific database. So in my case, I have created two collections, which is movie details and my movies, which are getting displayed in here. So let me run this first. The connection has been made. I get the status that I have been connected to the database, and these are the collections that are there inside this specific database. Now, this is the command that we have reviewed before, and it works in a similar way that I mentioned before, that it is finding all the documents which are there in the collection My Movies, and it is sorting these documents while it's fetching it according to year in descending order. So we are using two functions here, find and sort. So when I hit this, I get all the movies which are there currently inside this the collection in descending order of the years. Now, since the data which we are dealing with is very small, we would like to add some own sample data. So in order to do that, what I did was that I analyzed the document, which shows me that it has three different fields, which is ID, title, year, and type. So type is something which is common. It is movie, right? So what I've done is that I have created three different lists pertaining to these fields. These lists contains the list of IDs, the list of movie titles, and the list of years when they were released. So in order to add these documents inside my collection, I'm starting this for loop for all these 12 records, wherein I'm creating one dictionary, which is basically a document. So for every document, I am getting one ID, one title, and one year. And here the movie is something which is default. So I'm getting these fields from these lists and creating a specific document. Inside the same for loop, I am inserting this movie document inside the collection by using this function called insert one. So what this thing is doing is that it's connecting to my collection. It is using the function called insert one, and then it's inserting this document that I have created just now. So also I'm trying to print the inserted IDs of all the records that I'm printing simultaneously. So let's just hit this. And I have added about 12 records inside my this collection currently. So this is something that you can do for adding your own sample data inside your collection. Moving forward, analyzing the data, how can we use different functions to analyze data is something which is very important that you should focus on this course. So like I said, I discussed about find function before. There is another function which you could use, which is find one. So basically this finds only one record pertaining to the filter that you are giving it. In this case, I want to find a movie which has year 1982. So when I run this, I get that one record which has the year 1982. And going forward, this is the same function that I have discussed before, wherein for year 2013, I want to see the count of records which I have. The count of documents which I have inside this collection. So when I hit it, now it is 5. So basically, since we have added some dummy data inside this specific collection, the data points are much more for us to analyze. Next thing that I'm gonna discuss is about aggregate pipeline. So this is something which is very different, which is very similar to what we do in SQL. So in SQL, we have a group by function, which gives us like an aggregated numbers of the data that we have. In here, if let's say that I have a database of movies and I want to know that pertaining to every year, how many movies do I have in my collection? So in this case, for this specific query, I'll be using aggregate pipeline. So basically what aggregate pipeline is that it defines a specific array, which will be having different operations that you want to conduct on the collection. So in this case, I'm having two operations. First operation is of group by, and the second operation is of sorting. So you can see that we have defined an array and both of these operations are in there. So the first operation is that since I want the years and the number of movies pertaining to it, I will be grouping it by the ID called year. So with this, I'll group my records according to year. And here I'm saying that I want count of all the movies which pertain to this specific year. The second operation is just to sort. So basically, I want to sort this information according to year, which is underscore ID in here. And I want to sort it in an ascending order. So when I run this query, I'll be able to see the number of movies that I have in my system and the counts pertaining to it. And all these years are in ascending order. This is something that you can extend also. You can put in more operations in this pipeline so that all these operations can happen one after another in a specific pipeline. The next thing that we'll be discussing is how to update data. So in order to update data, you have many options like you can use functions like update one, update many, replace one, and that is something that up to your discretion that what you want to use. In this case, to give you a demonstration, I have used update one operation. So what I'm doing in this code is that first I am getting a record which is for the year 1982. And then I'm storing this specific document in a variable called sample record. Now what I want to do is that I want to update this specific sample record. So in order to do that, what I'll do is that I'll connect to the collection that I want to do this updation on. I say that I want to update only one record. And the ID of that record that I want to update is basically the ID of the variable sample record. That is the ID of the document which is stored in sample record will be fetched through this specific function called .get. And what change I want to make is basically I want to include another field called star rating. In this section, I'm just printing out the updated document so that I can see that the specific updation has been made to my records. So when I run this, which is taking time. Okay. So we see that earlier this record, this specific document had 4 fields, which was underscore ID, title, type, and year. But after the updation, I have added a new field called star rating, whose value is 5. So here the updated record, as you can see that we have included another field with the name star rating in here. So this is how we do updations on the cluster that you have been connected to. Another thing is possible operation which you have to be very careful about is deletion. So in order to make any deletion, there are again a lot of functions that you can use, like delete one, delete many, and this is something that you can explore on your own. In this case, I am using delete many. So what I'm doing in here is that first I'm finding all the records which I have for year 2018. So I can see that I have one record in here for year 2018 movies. So what I'm going to do is that I want to delete all the records which have year 2018 in them. So in order to do that, I'm connecting to my collection, and I'm using delete many, which basically is having a filter which tells me that all the documents pertaining to year 2018 must be deleted. So I run this. And now next thing for me is to check if all these records have been deleted or not. So now when I run this, when I check if I have any record for year 2018, I get none. It means that none of the records in my collection are pertaining towards the year 2018. So this is how you can do deletion. And basically this wraps up our all CRUD operations that we can talk about for this specific demonstration. Just for this week, try to explore these functions, and also try to explore the functions that I've mentioned but not used, so that you'll get a better clarity of how you can make these changes in your cluster. So yeah, that's it, and thanks for coming and thanks for listening. If you have any doubts, please reach out to me through Piazza, and me and Professor will try our best to answer your queries. Thank you.